knockout. He had over 200 amateur fights. From Chicago, Illinois, the entertainer, Jake Torrance. And his opponent in the red corner, coming in at 150 pounds, a professional record of 12-0, 11 by knockout. He was a gold medalist in the 1980 Olympic trials, currently ranked by the WBA at number 6 in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, from Fort Worth, Texas, Don the Cobra Curry.
Hi, me. No hitting on the brake. Break, take one step back. No button. Shake hands when the bell rings, come out fight.
The NABF welterweight champion, Donald Curry, taking on Jake Torrance. Donald Curry in the gold trunk, Torrance in the red. Here in Tennessee, they'll score it by the 10-point must system. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. And in Donald Curry, you are looking at the number 6 welterweight in the world as far as Ring Magazine is concerned, and the bright new hope in boxing today. Donald Curry has it all: speed, strength, ring savvy. He would have been our welterweight hope at the 1980 Olympics if the United States did not boycott the Moscow Games. Instead, he turned professional. He has won 12 in a row, 11 by knockouts. Torrance knows that he has a tough fight in his hands.
And one of the men he beat in a very close and controversial decision to win those Olympic trials was, in fact, Jake Torrance, who in Chicago, where he has fought as an amateur, is something of an amateur legend. He's won the Chicago Golden Gloves Championships, I guess, about 5 times. So he's a good fighter. He's lost twice as a professional, once to Louis Mateo and once to Tony Suero. But he is a good young fighter, too, so he should provide Donald Curry with some good competition.
We saw Donald in March, Lake Charles, Louisiana. He just stung Torrance with a right hand over lazy left. In March at Lake Charles, Donald Curry had a virus, did not eat for 2 days before the fight. Everything he ate, he threw up. And he was rather weak. He took on Mike Senegal that night, and he decided just about 20 minutes before the fight to go through with it because he felt so weak. And what did he do? He rumbled for 10 difficult rounds with Senegal, took him out in the 10th. And that night he said he felt that was when he really felt he was a professional.
Certainly a milestone in his career, and I think he'll look back at that and be glad that he decided to Senegal.
There's that right-hand lead again by Don Curry.
You know, it's interesting. These two fighters who were so even as amateurs, as professionals, have developed in kind of a dissimilar way. While Torrance has a good record of losses, he's certainly nowhere near the polished professional that Curry is. But this is a big opportunity for him tonight. His manager, Jerry Mullen, said we decided we had to take a shot at Curry.
Curry also has terrific defensive skills as well. Quiet first round. Torrance certainly respecting the power of Donald Curry, who, by the way, really can beat you about the body.
And this is a typical first round for Curry. A little bit cautious. He's always cautious in the early rounds, trying to size up his opponent. It gives you the illusion that he's dogging it a little bit, really.
Many times in our telecast, both Al and I and Randy Gordon have discussed footwork. Balance keeps the proper distance, springs forward on the attack, and has side to side. That takes care of the opening round. Flashes of brilliance by Curry.
Just get more of that.
We can just about hear the voice of Paul Reyes and David Gorman. Paul Reyes wants him to open up some more. David Gorman said, let's go to the body a lot more. So, in fact, they want Donald Curry to open up here in round 2. Jake Torrance, as you can see, lost split decision. Matter of fact, he lost 2 amateur fights to Donald Curry.
And beat him once. So they had some spirited scraps as an amateur, in the amateurs, and right now they're in the pros. And for Jake Torrance, really an enormous opportunity in this fight.
Round 2 scheduled for 10. Al, how did you score the opener?
Well, I gave the first round to Curry. It wasn't by a large margin, but I did think he landed the more effective punches. And I subscribe to the theory that the time to get Donald Curry is early. I think if I was an opponent of his, I would try and come out fast. He is not a real fast starter.
Now, Torrance was banging the body of Curry, and Donald straightened him up with a left hook delivered from the hip.
Torrance is the kind of fighter who has had so many in-and-out performances. At times as a professional, he's lived up to the promise he held as an amateur. And other times, as in his fight against Louis Mateo, he's just been as flat as a pancake. So we don't know what to expect from him tonight.
We had an oddity with Don Curry back in March at Lake Charles, Louisiana. Twice in the 5th round, he ripped open his right glove.
He was shaking the cobwebs out. Those left hands were good, solid, short punches.
Al, I can't remember the last time I saw a fighter open up his glove. We saw Curry do it 3 times in one fight.
That was one of the most extraordinary situations I think I've ever seen in boxing. And twice he caught it on the tooth of Mike Senegal. There were some allegations that they wanted the gloves to be split, the Curry camp, and that was ludicrous because he was winning the fight. It was simply a freak accident.
Curry chasing Torrance. Torrance moving away, not in a good fashion. No side to side from Jake.
Now, Donald Curry starting to assert himself and assert his power in this fight. And Jake Torrance hasn't really gotten off yet.
Look at that jab from Curry. That backed up Torrance. Torrance now on the bicycle. And Curry hitting a little bit heavier. Torrance holding on. Not a good outing for Jake here in round 2.
Well, as I said, he's an in-and-out fighter. And he's got such promise that people shake their heads in boxing when he performs in a lethargic fashion. And that's what he's starting to do right here.
Less than 30 seconds to go in the round. And Torrance just taking here in round 2 and holding on. Suddenly, Donald Curry has taken over. I remember early in the round, that left hook of his was a tremendous calling card to Torrance. Round 2 slipping away, and we'll be right back. Some action in the corner from the previous round. The second, Donald Curry cornering his opponent Jake Torrance and taking advantage. Back live, round 3 scheduled for 10. Al, how do you see the fight?
Well, I've got the fight scored for Donald Curry, 20-18. I've got him winning both rounds. The second round certainly more decisively. He's starting to take control with his combinations. And in fact, he's a more powerful puncher than Jake Torrance. Jake has got to make something happen, I think, in this round if he wants to get back in this fight, because we've seen Curry just dominate a fight and take people out.
Once again, clever tactic by Donald Curry. Torrance was beating him in the body, and Donald reacted with a left hook to the head, and that stopped that action by Torrance. Curry's got lots of savvy. Why not? 15 times a national champion. 1980 gold medalist at the Olympic trial.
You know, if there's a rap on Donald Curry at all, it's that he's too methodical, that he shows no flash. And even this performance here tonight, it's been a good performance. It's hard to criticize it. It just isn't flashy. But the fact is he gets the job done so well. And he doesn't need the flash. He's just a good, solid fighter.
Torrance in the fight a lot more this round, takes a hard jab to the belly. Last round he was holding on too much. Backed up there by a short left. I think Curry would rather fight him at long distance.
Well, we've seen Curry fight both ways. Against Senegal inside, he fought very effectively also. So that's part of what makes him a good fighter.
Left hook by Curry. At the end of the exchange, you see Torrance now showing a lot more respect by backtracking, but he's caught on the ropes again. Right uppercut by Curry.
Curry is such a workman in the ring. We see him just going about his business, throwing good combinations. He's got an excellent uppercut, which he's shown us and shown Jake Torrance.
Some blood coming from the lips of Jake Torrance as he slides along the ropes. He's using all of his 22-foot ring. He's very respectful of Curry's power. The Cobra in gold. Jake Torrance in red. Big left hook by Curry again. Torrance holding on. He's not responding with punches.
So far, Jake Torrance has the look of a fighter that came to Nashville simply to survive.
Once again, Torrance holding on. The crowd getting on him here. He's got to be more aggressive, otherwise he's going to let Curry shut him out. Round 4 be coming your way after this timeout. Lecture in the corner. They told him, let's rumble with Don Curry. Let's not hand it to him. Let's get closer to him and fight. Did he get a lecture? Meanwhile, Donald Curry comes out here and he continues to press his attack.
And I've got Curry ahead 30-27. I gave him all 3 of the first rounds. And despite that lecture, Jake Torrance continues to go backwards and let Curry dictate the tempo of this fight.
Torrance continues to run, not throwing any punches. Curry going to work, piston-like fashion. Torrance, again, doesn't throw a punch in retaliation, just holds on.
And one of the things they told him in the corner was you can't stay outside and beat this man.
Steve Murph, the referee, has stopped the fight. He's going around to all the judges, and he's informing us that it's all over. Jake Torrance did not fight back, and so Don Curry breezes. Gets a 4th round technical knockout. And there can't be any complaint from the corner of Jake Torrance. He handed the fight to Donald Curry.
Well, despite that, I'm hard-pressed to understand his decision. Unless Torrance decided to quit, I guess the referee said Torrance wasn't throwing enough punches, but I can't imagine that.
Earlier in the round, Donald Curry backed Torrance into the corner, and look at this combination. Left, right, left, right. And one more left hook in the flurry. 2 left-right combinations in quick fashion. Let's get the official time.
The winner at 1 minute, 7 seconds of the 4th round by disqualification, Don Cobra Curry. Curry.
So officially, it's a disqualification as Jake Torrance did not retaliate. Donald Curry is now 13-0. We'll be back to talk with the Cobra after this pause.
Here comes the same old feeling. Here comes the feeling.
At 107 in the 4th, Donald Curry winning on a disqualification over Jake Torrance. Why did you stop the fight so abruptly?
Well, I think he was outmatched myself. Really, he was holding. After about the 1st round, every time he'd catch a blow, he would grab the man. He would hold him. I warned him twice in 1 round. I warned him twice in another round. Finally, in the 4th round, he grabbed the man. I asked him to let go, and he wouldn't let him go. So I stopped the contest.
Let's show you at that very moment that you stopped the contest. We had remarked that Torrance wasn't throwing any punches in retaliation.
Yes. Here he is. You see right here, he's not throwing. Watch him try to grab him. He keeps shoving him off. As you see, I see his flurry. See him try to grab him there, but he shoves him off. Now, I'll move in here to try to make him break. Look, he keeps holding. He will not let him go. He's holding. See, I tell him to quit, let go 2 or 3 times. He's still holding, see? So he disobeyed my order, so I disqualified him.
The proof of the pudding is you didn't get much response from that corner.
No, sir, I didn't. I think the fight was too one-sided.
Thank you very much, referee Steve Murph. Thanks very much. Let's bring in the Cobra from Fort Worth, Donald Curry. You had a piece of cake tonight.
Yeah, he was a little bit scared of me. We had fought twice. We fought in the AAU in the Golden Gloves, an amateur, you know, and I hurt him pretty good in the Golden Glove tournament. But he gave me a good fight in the AAU the first time I fought him. But the second time around, you know, he acted like he was a little scared, and he came in scared tonight.
Donald, because of the abrupt stoppage of this fight, which still looms in my mind kind of strange, you didn't get that much work, maybe not as much as you wanted. Were you happy with the amount of time you had in the ring tonight?
Well, not really. I really was, you know, wanted a little competition or something, you know, from it because, you know, I was doing all the work and, you know, it's kind of hard. But, you know, I'm kind of satisfied with the result.
Bring us up to date. We know about the issue of Sugar Ray Leonard. We don't know, in fact, if he will come back or not. We certainly all wish him the best. The welterweight division now has a new star in you. There was a chance of you fighting Roger Stafford, who couldn't get in the ring with Sugar Ray. Tell me where that's at. Do you want to fight Roger Stafford?
Yeah, I would like to fight Roger Stafford. They called twice about fighting him, and, you know, I accepted the fight, and then they called back and turned it down. So, you know, I'm ready for Stafford. I would like to fight him.
You're giving away about 7 years to Stafford, and he's got a lot more experience than you do, but you don't mind that.
No, I don't mind because I come from a lot of amateur background. You know, I had a lot of amateur fights, so I think I'm pretty well up there with him. I don't think Stafford had too much of amateur background, so I'm right along up there with the experience what he is.
Al, why don't you pass the microphone? I know I want to talk to the manager and the trainer.
Okay, Dave Gorman, let's get your report card on this fight. What did you think of how Donald looked tonight?
Well, I thought Donald was just starting to warm up and really get himself going in the, in the last 2 rounds there. I hated the fight was stopped because I thought Donald was going to stop it for him, before another round had got by. But he was getting some good work. I'd like to see him go a few more rounds and finished him off like we planned on. But Don was looking good out there. Don's ready to fight some top contenders and hope we get a chance to.
Let me ask Paul Reyes. He talks about Roger Stafford, and there's talk of Pipino Cuevas. What fighter would you next like to see him in with?
Well, Don was ready for either one of them. Like tonight, we wanted a little bit more work for Donald, but gradually he started picking up every round. He's looking better every fight.
David, do you agree that he's ready for any welterweight out there, even at the age of 20?
No, I wouldn't say any welterweight out there, but like Donald said, we'd like to make the Stafford fight, and anybody else out there in another 2 or 3 fights, we're going to be ready for them. I can't think of anybody we'd turn down right now.
Okay, good then.
Donald, are you getting itchy?
Well, not really. You know, I'm just taking them as they come. You know, I'm not really in a hurry to get up there because he said I'm young and, I have a lot of, to learn. Not that much, but a little more to learn as a professional. So I'm not getting really itchy.
Okay, the Cobra from Fort Worth. It was brief, but it was entertaining. Donald Curry now